finally finished the front faces of the cabinet. I'm just waiting for some new handles to replace all of these. And I went with a pine bench top from Bunnings just to match the pine ceiling and the light floors. Unfortunately, they only came in 2.2 meter lengths, and all I did was I joined two together. Now, let me know in the comments if you can see where the join is. I'll give you 5 seconds. Where's the join? There. So all I did was braced it up with some brackets. I matched the grain as best I could, and I'm just put some wood glue in there. I haven't sanded it back yet because I want to give this bench top a light sand before I varnish it. But pretty good, I think. That's pretty hard to see. Obviously you can see the marks from the glue, but that'll all sand off, and I reckon they'll disguise it quite nicely. But yeah, it's time to cut the splashback. So I'm just going to rip down lengths of this, and I can join them up just roughly because they're going to be covered in tiles. So I'll cut those, screw those on, and then I'll get into varnishing it. Now, all I'm going to do now is measure up where I need the splashback to mount to, because it's not all the way to the back of the cabinet because I've got these protrusions. Make a mark along the back side of it, and then I'll take it all out, screw it up from the underneath, fit the corner, and put it all back in place. So the next step is to tile this splashback. Now, obviously you can't really use tiles. People do, but I don't recommend using tiles in buses because of the vibration plus the extra weight. Instead, I've opted for the old stack-on tile. So not as luxurious, but still gives the same effect and easy to clean. So what I'm going to do is go and stagger these all along here and finish it with a cap along the top. Bead of silicone, and that'll do for what I want. I just want this to be tiled so it's easier to clean because you're going to get food and stuff. So all these come in full sheets, and I'm just going to trim them down to 2 tiles high, which I made this to suit 2 tiles high, just so it's a nice even number and I'm not cutting along tiles. So all I'm going to do is start with a square and then stagger the joints and work my way along and see how we go. Job done. Yes. Next job. Moving on. Don't have time to dwell on this. Keep cracking on. So all I'm going to do here is I've just done a test run, planing this down. So it's just a finger jointed ceiling batten, I think. Chuck it through the planer and then get it sanded and trim it to length. So I've just done a test cut around the pillar and I'm going to take that out a bit more. It's bloody perfect. So I'll just sand that back now, get a nice finish on it, and figure out where my mitre is on this end. And I'm just going to mark the angle there, do another 45 to cap it off. So I sealed the underside and the backside last night. So what I'm going to do is screw it in with these existing screw holes, mount it all, fill it with this pine timber filler, and then sand that back and seal over the top of that. While I wait for that to dry, I'm going to go ahead and run a bead of silicone around all my tiling. Going with a brushed brass / gold finish. So I'm just going to replace these silver handles with these. So I've marked the center of the hole and the two ends for the 64mm gap. So I'll drill that in over these pre-existing holes and I'll fill them with some plugs. Alright, so that's the first one done. The screws they gave me were too long, so I had to just space them out with spacers, but it's not the end of the world. I'm happy with it. But yeah, that's nice and flush, nice and tidy, and we've got the old magnets in here and up here to close it, and it'll stop it coming out when we're driving. Just excuse the mess, but I've finished the handles. So I've done all the handles on all the drawers. Looking pretty nice. Going for the nice gold. And I've just built around the wheel arch for the fridge to go. So you can have a fridge here and little wardrobe in this gap here. And then this wall is going to be the start of the bathroom, which will be around there somewhere. So nice full size, it's a 125 or 175 litre with a freezer on the top and fridge down the bottom. Brass Monkey fridge powered by an LG compressor. So they're quite a cheap fridge for what they are, but they've got good internals. So hopefully it works. A little 12-volt system, and I've got a nice bit of area behind it for it to breathe. So I just got to run all those wires, but for now we're going to go back to this and install this. We're going to go with a white stone, but the reading I did on the white stone is that they mark really easily and they get all these grey marks from your cutlery and that. So we decided just to go to stainless steel. It also reduces the weight because the white stone ones are about 35 kilos and this is about 2. So we're just going to install this. This is the biggest sink I could go for, and we're going to actually mount it sideways. So instead of having the waste at the back, it's going to be on the side. So I'll just offset it slightly in this above this cabinet, just so I've got enough room at the back for the tap to fit, and without getting too much of a slither on the front here because it'll weaken this. So let's start cutting holes for that. Right, so we've got this all marked up. I've double checked it and I've got lots of masking tape to stop the jigsaw scratching the surface. What I'm going to do now to stop the wood splitting in the corners is drill a hole to round out the corners. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first. Alright, time for a test fit. Bloody beautiful. So now I've just got to measure up for the tap. It's going to go there. 32mm drill bit. Sweet, that is perfect. So I'm just going to take that out now. So I'm just going to do a couple of coats of this benchtop sealant, and I'll let that dry overnight, and then I'll get everything installed in the morning. So I'll catch you then. Got this all test fitted. It fits all nice. I had to route out a bit of the underneath the benchtop to make sure there was enough clearance for the overflow to mount underneath here. So I'm just yet to do that. They'll be mounted up the side, but I hole sawed out, so I'll just open these cabinets, hole sawed out all the fittings and mounted the counterweight on the line, so that's all rigged up and ready to go. Pulls out nice and smooth, can be adjusted and back up there. So part of the reason we went for the sink in this position and not over there is because that window over there doesn't open, this one does, and we want the ability to have an outdoor shower after a dive or after a swim after the beach, and then you can swing it back in and go back to your standard kitchen. So that's the reason we did it like that. Anyway, just going to go around and seal everything up. Pretty happy with it. All the drawers close nice and positively because of all the magnets, so it makes it feel really high quality. And that should keep it from opening on the drive. Nice and clean, practical, easy to clean, easy to maintain, and a real high quality finish, which I'm actually really proud of. But yeah, as I said, that's it for this one. Hope you liked it. I enjoyed building it. Hope you guys enjoyed watching it. Hope you learned something if you're doing this yourself. And if you're just watching because you're interested, then I hope you enjoyed it. But we'll see you in the next video when we're on to the next job, which I'm not too sure what it is yet, but we'll get there.